Welcome back to the 60s and 70s channel, where we tell the stories behind the artists who defined an era. Today's journey is into the chaotic, controversial, and legendary life of a man who has been called the Prince of Darkness, the godfather of heavy metal, and one of rock's most enduring icons, Ozzy Osbourne. His career spans more than 5 decades, from the gloomy factories of Birmingham to the world's largest arenas, and even into reality television. It's a tale of resilience, reinvention, and survival against all odds. This is the full story of Ozzy Osbourne. John Michael Osbourne, known to the world as Ozzy, was born on December 3rd, 1948 in Birmingham, England. His childhood was tough. He grew up in a cramped 2-bedroom home shared with 5 siblings. Money was scarce, and opportunities for kids from his neighborhood were few. Ozzy wasn't a star student. He battled dyslexia, leaving him frustrated and often humiliated in school. But he had a natural sense of humor and a knack for entertaining, traits that would serve him later on stage. His first taste of inspiration came in 1963 when he heard the Beatles song, "She Loves You." He later recalled that moment as life-changing, saying it gave him hope that he too could find a way out of poverty. In his teenage years, Ozzy bounced between jobs, plumbing, construction, and even working in a slaughterhouse. He also made some poor decisions and landed briefly in prison for petty theft. Still, he was drawn to music. He sang in small local bands, dreaming of something bigger. That dream began to take shape when he crossed paths with guitarist Tony Iommi, bassist Geezer Butler, and drummer Bill Ward. Together they decided to form a band. At first they called themselves Earth, but soon they rebranded with a name that would shake the world, Black Sabbath. When Black Sabbath emerged in the late 60s, the rock scene was dominated by psychedelia and blues. Sabbath wanted something darker, something heavier. Drawing inspiration from horror films and the bleak reality of industrial Birmingham, they developed a sound that was sinister, slow, and thunderous. In February of 1970, their self-titled debut album hit shelves. The opening track, simply called Black Sabbath, featured ominous bells, crashing chords, and Ozzy's eerie vocals. It was unlike anything audiences had ever heard. Many historians point to that record as the birth of heavy metal. Later that same year, they released Paranoid, the album that defined their career. It contained songs that are still iconic today. War Pigs, a scathing critic of war and politics. Iron Man, with its unforgettable riff. And the title track Paranoid, which became a global hit. With these songs, Black Sabbath established themselves as pioneers of a new, darker branch of rock. Even more groundbreaking records followed, including Master of Reality, Volume 4, and Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Each album pushed the boundaries of heaviness and influenced generations of musicians. Ozzy's vocals, strange, haunting, and unmistakable, were the glue that held the madness together. But as Black Sabbath's fame grew, so did their problems. The band's lifestyle revolved around endless touring, heavy drinking and drug use. Internal conflicts escalated, and by 1979, Ozzy's substance abuse had spiraled out of control. His bandmates made the difficult decision to fire him. For many, it seemed like the end of Ozzy Osbourne's career, but in truth, it was the start of something even bigger. After leaving Sabbath, Ozzy was adrift, broken, addicted, and unsure of his future. But with the help of Sharon Arden, daughter of music manager Don Arden, he launched an unlikely comeback. Sharon, who would later become his wife, became the driving force behind his solo career. In 1980, Ozzy released Blizzard of Oz, a record that shocked critics and fans with its brilliance. Crazy Train, with its instantly recognizable riff, became an anthem. Songs like Mr. Crowley showcased Ozzy's fascination with mythicism and the occult. At the center of this new sound was guitarist Randy Rhoads, whose talent elevated Ozzy's music to another level. Tragedy struck sadly in 1982 when Rhodes died in a plane crash at just 25 years old. The loss devastated Ozzy, who considered ending his career, but he persevered, releasing albums like Bark at the Moon and No More Tears. These records gave us enduring tracks such as Mama, I'm Coming Home, revealing a softer side of the so-called Prince of Darkness. Ozzy's solo success proved he wasn't just the voice of Black Sabbath, he was a force in his own right, and against all odds, he reinvented himself and reached new heights. Ozzy's legend isn't only built on music, it's also built on outrageous stories. The most infamous occurred in 1982. During a show, a fan threw a live bat onto the stage. Thinking it was a toy, Ozzy picked it up and bit its head off. The bat was real, and Ozzy had to undergo rabies shots afterwards. The incident became one of rock's most notorious moments. There were other controversies, too. He bit the head off a dove at a record company meeting. He was arrested multiple times for drunken antics. Parents groups accused him of promoting Satanism. Politicians tried to ban his concerts. Through it all, Ozzy leaned into the chaos, becoming both feared and adored. But behind the shocking headlines was a man struggling with addiction and mental health. His willingness to admit his flaws, coupled with his sheer survival, made him oddly relatable. Fans didn't just see a rock star, they saw a human being battling demons, yet refusing to quit. By the late 1990s, Ozzy was already a legend, but the new millennium brought an unexpected twist. In 2002, MTV launched The Osbournes, a reality show that followed Ozzy, Sharon, and their children at home. It was chaotic, hilarious, and surprisingly wholesome at times. The show turned Ozzy into a pop culture icon for a whole new generation. Meanwhile, his musical career continued. He reunited with Black Sabbath multiple times, including for tours and their 2013 album 13, which debuted at #1 in several countries. As a solo artist, he kept releasing music, experimenting with new sounds, and collaborating with younger artists. He received countless awards, including inductions into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the UK Music Hall of Fame. He even won Grammy Awards and earned recognition as one of the most influential vocalists in rock. His influence can be heard in countless bands, from Metallica and Iron Maiden to modern metalcore and beyond. He even helped invent heavy metal, but even more than that, he showed the world that even the most unlikely person could rise from poverty and chaos to become a global legend. Ozzy Osbourne is even more than just a Prince of Darkness. He is proof that music, passion, and perseverance can outlast everything. And amazingly, despite being in frail health, Ozzy even reunited with Black Sabbath one last time for the Back to the Beginning farewell concert on July 5th, 2025. But very, very sadly, on July 22nd of this year at age 76, after suffering severe health issues in his final few years, Ozzy died of a heart attack. But his music will continue to live on. And on October 7th, Paramount Plus released a documentary titled Ozzy, No Escape From Now, which is about the challenges Ozzy faced during his last 6 years, detailing his numerous corrective surgeries, escalating health issues, the effects of his Parkinson's diagnosis, and his continuing chronic pain while fighting to get back on stage one last time, while also highlighting the role music played during this troubling time, such as the making of his last 2 studio albums, Ordinary Man and Patient Number 9. Thanks for listening to the 60s and 70s channel. Be sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the artists and songs that shaped music history. Until next time, keep the music alive, folks.